So question of the day, are you a victim and are you a learned victim? This is something that's really important. So learned victimization, we're going to talk about it. It's important to remember that not everybody has to remain a victim, and victim is a harsh word. So let's just go ahead and make a harsh video about a harsh word, okay? Here we go. Here with New Thinking, New Life, we do videos for people who want to get better at things and not just complain about it all the time, because I used to be a complainer. Are you a complainer? So what is learned victimization? Well, before we do that, don't be a victim. Click on the subscribe button, then click on the little bell so you'll know when I do new videos. I do videos all the time and I would love to have you here. So learned victimization, what is it and why does it sound so nasty? No doubt about it. It sounds really bad, right? How can I learn how to be a victim? You're telling me that it's my fault? So I want to take you back to a study that was done a long time ago, before people couldn't do this kind of stuff. It was a study about a scientist, doctor. I'm not going to give the details and I'll probably hack this story really bad, but just bear with me for half a second. So the story goes that the doctor puts a metal sheet down, as I mentioned, and he electrifies one side. He puts a dog on the first side and a little fence in between. He shocks the metal floor and the dog jumps up and yelps out in pain. But the dog realizes that if he runs to the other side of the metal floor, he's no longer being shocked because that side is not electrified. Time after time, these dogs realize that they can simply jump to the other side. They're no longer going to be electrified. Well, guess what? They're not going to be hurt. They're not going to be shocked. And they have gone ahead and they have avoided being a victim. And they've gone ahead and they've saved themselves from being a victim getting hurt. The part where it gets kind of nasty. The doctor then takes dogs, puts them on a collar and puts them on a leash. Then he puts the same dogs, this new crop of dogs, onto the other side and electrifies the fence or the floor. The floor gets electrified, the dog jumps up, but he's on a short leash. He can't jump away. He electrifies the floor again. You see how we couldn't do this experiment nowadays? The doctor then takes the leash off of these same dogs that are being shocked over and over again but are still tethered to a leash. They're yelping and whimpering in a corner of that metal floor. And after they take the leash off of those dogs and give them the opportunity to save themselves, you might have already guessed it. Yeah, those dogs don't actually try to jump over to the other side, even though they have had their leash removed. And they have every ability to go ahead and save themselves. Do you get the story here? The story really is that these dogs have learned that they are simply victims. They can't help themselves because they have an anchor in their head that every time they try to jump over, they're stuck on a leash. They've created a mental leash in their heads, so they don't even try to save themselves after the leash is now gone. These dogs have actually learned to become victims. Their learned victimhood is preventing them from being able to go over and save themselves and jump to the other side. Example of this is the old circus elephants. Now, if you guys are in North America, you might have noticed a few years ago, they stopped using animals at Barnum and Bailey like elephants. But what they used to do with elephants was very similar. They would take an elephant, a little baby elephant, and they would put it on a leash, and they would put it on a chain, and they would bury a stake maybe about 12 inches, 25 centimeters into the ground. Now, because a baby elephant isn't that big, it wouldn't be able to break away from its leash. It wouldn't be able to break away from that tether and run off. But as the elephant got bigger and bigger and started to weigh thousands of pounds, it didn't really matter how little the stake was in the ground. Just having the leash on that elephant as a fully grown elephant would prevent it from trying to escape whatsoever. Noted in this case that elephants are considered one of the most intelligent animals in the entire animal kingdom. That's why they say elephants never forget. Elephants are highly intelligent. That's why elephants are so smart. They're big. They have large brains compared to the smaller brain of a dog, right? The elephants and the dogs have in common? Well, they have a learned victimhood in common. See, these animals have been trained. They've been created an anchor in their brain that says that no matter what they do, they can't really help themselves. So they're going to be stuck in their position no matter what they do, so why bother to try to help themselves? Getting overtly political, I want you guys to take a look at the society and the culture you live in. People from YouTube watch these videos from all over the world. Is the government of your world a victimhood type of government? Are they teaching you that you can't get ahead? Do the people in your family teach you that you can't get ahead? True, certain people in the world, certain ethnic groups, certain races, certain political groups, certain people in certain places have always had troubles getting ahead in life. But you have to ask yourself a simple question. Are you living in a victimhood mentality without even knowing it? Living in a victimhood mentality, you have to realize this. You have to break free. Go look for some inspiration. Look for people that are trying to do what you're trying to do and type in inspirational stories after that. If you're trying to build a website and make money online, look for success stories in your field. If you're trying to go to school and break free from a crappy situation, look at success stories in your field. 2 leads to look at. The first is Elon Musk. Go look up his life story. This guy was beat mercifully. He was beat badly by his father. I tripped on my words there. He left South Africa at a young age with only a backpack and very little resources to his name. And he didn't say, well, I can't do any better than I'm doing here because my family hates me and this and that and the other. The guy went on to be a billionaire and founded so many of the companies that we use today. He had his hooks in PayPal. He obviously made Tesla. He's flying people into outer space. How's that for a person that decided not to be a victim? An example I will give you is Conor McGregor. You know, the UFC fighter, the guy from Ireland, the guy who seems to have a big fat mouth. Well, look past the big fat mouth and realize that Muhammad Ali also had a big fat mouth. And take a look at his life story. Take a look at the poverty that he grew up in. He grew up in deplorable conditions, and he decided at one point that he was going to be the best and focus on mastery at whatever he wanted to do. He used the law of attraction and literally talks in interviews about using the secret to get himself a better life and be great. Now the guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and even though you may not approve of what he says and his personality and how he applies himself in society, you got to admire a guy who came from nothing and now has more than almost everybody on the planet Earth. It's time here for you too. Take a look at Anthony Robbins. You know, Tony Robbins, big, huge, 9.5 foot, 20 foot tall guy, you know, the motivational speaker guy. His mother beat the hell out of him. His mother abused him. His mother took away his dream to become a sports reporter. This guy was actually, as a kid, able to interview some of the top people in sports at the time in high school. His mother got afraid, told him that he couldn't do that. And even though he couldn't do that, he managed to make something amazing out of himself. He now has access to anybody he ever wants to talk to. He could go back and talk to those people he wanted to talk to. He's talked to presidents and athletes and everybody else because he had a dream and he had a goal and he wanted to not be a victim. He didn't want to be a learned victim. So look, the point is this. If you have to go ahead and change the group of people that you associate with or put yourself into a new situation, sometimes, as they say, we're a reflection of the 5 people that we associate with the most. Don't live in a learned victim mentality. Break free from that and do what you have to do to get better for you and the people closest to you, even if those people closest to you don't currently support what you're doing right now in this moment. So that's your message for today. If you're just browsing through, be sure to click subscribe and go ahead and hit that little bell so you can be notified when I do new videos. And hey, look, if you guys have something to say, you guys want to talk, you guys want to chat, create a dialogue in the comments below. I always love reading and replying to all of my comments. I'm Steven. This is New Thinking, New Life, and this is your message for today, for this week, for this moment in time, wherever you might be watching this. Thanks for watching and be awesome. Bye-bye.